We finished at the last section looking at Griffin's 4 perspectives on research-informed teaching. Research-led, where the curriculum is structured around the content of that research area, the canon of literature as it were. Research-oriented, where we get the students to understand the process of knowledge generation. Research-based, where the curriculum is based on the inquiry activities of the students, where they go out and go through the literature. And research-informed, and that's the teaching perspectives using the latest educational research. What we want to progress to is a way of actually taking this into the classroom. And what Healy did was put differing perspectives in this. The important thing from this model to look at are the 2 axes of the diagram. If we take the vertical axis, this is one around where are we focusing the activities. Is it the student who is leading or the tutor who's leading? So we've got research tutored and research based, and that's where the student, they are engaging, they are the participant, they are working this through. Whereas the teacher focused is where we are leading the process, where we are leading them through the research process or we're sharing our own knowledge. And the emphasis on the horizontal axis is on the process and problems of research or the research content. So one is, what have we found out to the left-hand side and what does that mean? Or how do we find that out? What is the process we engage with in order to have new knowledge, new understanding? So really what Healy was trying to do was give us a way of understanding research-informed teaching in terms of what we will be doing in the classroom. I took a few liberties with this and made it extra simple. So this is definitely what Healy has presented, but in this case, I've tried to take the essence of it. So the same 4 cells, but really simplified down. So if we go from students instigate the research, investigate the research canon, what I'm getting at here is they are given access to all the literature, all the research relating to their field of knowledge. So they engage with it, they become part of it, but they are not generating anything, they're just analysing it. And then we can move across to students undertake research. What we're doing there is we're giving them the skills in order to engage in the research process. So clearly, them having read the research will be given ideas about what questions can be asked and how those questions can be answered. But the next cell across, students are actually doing it and they're learning from the process of engaging it. On the other 2 cells, we've got the tutor perspective. We've got the tutor either disseminates their research and talks them through it and says, this is what I did. And often students engage with that really, really positively. They see this opportunity of working with somebody who's active in the research field. I'll also note here, it can be active in the profession as well, but they're speaking with authenticity from the professional perspective. And finally, tutors share how knowledge is produced. So the tutors go into how they engaged with the research, not what they found, but how they did it. So I've distilled it down to these 4 elements as a way to help you consider what's going on in your classroom. Because the key thing a lot of the time is not that you don't do this. I'm convinced that you do it. You do it a lot of the time. But we need to recognise it as research-informed teaching and celebrate it and share that with the students. So what might this look like? Bugram and Stokes in 2017, they led on Advanced HE project across a number of universities, how they were engaging with research-informed teaching. And there was a range of things, actively working with researchers, getting all students of the university to be part of a research project, for example. Getting students to understand the transferability skills element to doing research. So not what are my findings, but rather what do I now understand about the generation of knowledge that I can take somewhere else. So they were trying to see, can this occur at a broad-based university level? The projects that they reported were from a number of universities: Portsmouth, Nottingham-Trent, Kingston, Lincoln, Salford. And they were all about trying to initiate research-informed teaching across a university. So for example, Kingston, they tried to take the research-informed teaching agenda and make that part of the employability agenda. A noteworthy, incredible thing to do. In the same way, what's one of the others? Learning as a researcher from Portsmouth University, what they were trying to do there was take the learning process and overlay on the top of that the research process, and trying to get some transferability of knowledge and skills from one area to the other. I share this with you because it is interesting. The projects are interesting, and you can sense my hesitancy here. Why I'm hesitant is that ultimately I don't think this research is very good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be superior or sniffy about difficult projects undertaken across a university. But what I am questioning is this rather ironic situation that there's actually poor research into research-informed teaching, and that what you tend to get are evaluations and not real high-quality research. So any of you, in any of your disciplines, I would strongly recommend, if you want to actually find a little bit of space where I believe there won't be much competition but a willing audience, consider truly researching research-informed teaching for your area. Here, there's some nice ideas, it's large scale, great intentions, but I do question whether this really is high quality research about research-informed teaching. What I would have you doing if this were a live session would be to actually step back and say, okay, what have I experienced as far as research-informed teaching is concerned, and what have I delivered in terms of research-informed teaching? This helps us recognise those experiences that perhaps at the time we didn't see as research-informed, or we didn't present as research-informed. What I'll do is I'll stop this session here. We can reflect on this in the Zoom room, and I'll come back again to deconstruct this once we've had an opportunity to consider what was our experience of research-informed teaching.